Hey, Pawan. Can you hear me?
Yeah, how are you, Chris?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing well, thanks, bud. Just busy.
I
It's just like crazy busy.
heard
Where you
that.
been?
I got,
Haven't heard from you for a while.
you know what? I got some kind of stomach bug or something on, well, it's not a, was a virus. It was like a bacteria or something on Wednesday night. And I've kind of been down for the count for the last, few days. So,
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
I said, where you been? I haven't heard from you for a while.
Oh, you didn't hear what I just said?
No.
What's up,
I got,
guys?
hey, Andrew, what's going
Hey.
on? I got some kind of ate something or food poisoning or something that's lasted all the way up until yesterday from last Wednesday. So
Oh man.
yeah, it's been pretty bad. I've been sick as a dog since then. So I was actually working on the documentation stuff, and my plan was this week to finish it up and finish setting up another server to kind of duplicate what I did. But I left last Wednesday and never went back to work until today.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you're doing better.
Yeah, I'm doing much better. I ended up going to the doctor today, but even though I went back to work and felt better, but she just said that I'd picked up something more likely.
Gotcha. So is it food poisoning or
Well,
something
I mean, it
else
was some kind
problem?
of bacteria or whatever. Evidently, I picked up from eating something. So I don't know. We don't know exactly what it is because we wasn't able to get a sample in whenever I was sick. So, but
Hmm.
that's what she said. So,
Gotcha.
Andrew, what's going on?
Right now, I'm like working on the dashboard component,
Okay.
and um, basically, I'm trying to figure out at this point how to get that JSON object
Hmm.
from socket.io to something called React, which is what I'm building the web page with,
Okay.
um, to just display it. And let's see.
So I'm assuming you got your database stuff working fine, and
Not
I
completely. Um, I think I've got it figured out so I can like query specific keys in JSON,
hmm
but I never actually like finished it. I kind of got irritated and moved on to the next part so I could clear my head.
I got you.
Um, Give me 1 second. Share screen.
Well, I was going to say we've got to turn in the milestone 3 this week. Am I correct on that?
Next week.
Uh,
It's the 31st.
Is it the 30th? Well, this is the 31st.
this Sunday is
The
the
Sunday's
31st.
the
Yeah.
31st.
Yeah, I'm definitely not ready to submit anything today.
No, no. Well, I mean, just to for Sunday. I mean, we'll have to submit the milestones. So I guess Greg, are you kind of getting our stuff back together, and then maybe Sunday afternoon,
Yeah, that's not,
um, we
yeah,
can kind of work on it, Andrew, and with you, Greg, and Powan, and get our milestone 3 ready because we've
Because
got a milestone 4.
we're pretty much supposed to be done for this milestone. Uh,
Well,
which I'm
we've got
not
a
quite
milestone.
there.
We've got a milestone 4, so
milestone 4 is supposed to be our presentation over to the board, isn't it?
well,
Yeah, that's part of it, yeah. But milestone 3 was basically we'll pretty much have it done.
yeah.
And I'm not quite there.
It sounds like we're close though. So I mean, if we're behind a little bit, that's okay. We just need to
Yeah.
put it in there that we're
I
behind, and
actually
we'll
took
finish.
off Wednesday and Friday, and I'm going to spend both those days working on it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to try to finish up this week, and then of course I go on spring break next week, so I'm off, so I can work on it a little bit to get the documentation stuff going.
Chris, just a side note, I can help you with that. I I have some documentations where we in my company or the company I work at that we did not have any Apple products or MacBooks, this and that, and I created documentation how to configure MacBooks and put the image on them, and put them on domain and so forth. So I have those documentation. Maybe you can use them as a template for this if you would like to work on it together.
Okay. Well, I've got Andrew. You remember last week that we were working on? I kind of started working on it. When I've got a notebook, Pawan, I've got a notebook at work of where I was writing step by step, and I was going in. Am I sharing my screen? Well, you see in his screen. Well, anyhow, there's a document in our folder called Documentation Project 12. I started working on it a little bit, and I was actually writing and typing out, step-by-step instructions on doing some of the stuff. But I'm kind of waiting on also Andrew, because he's going to have a quick way of installing this project to the clients and the server. Correct, Andrew?
Hopefully. It depends on how much time I get to work on it.
Yeah.
And of course, we got part of April. I'm going to continue working on it, obviously, but I want to have like the core functionality down.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's easy to deploy may be another story.
Yeah.
Once I hit that point.
Well, I mean, I've
get
got
to the point
this.
where I can show you.
I've got
what I'm doing.
the step by steps. Once I start installing the database, I'm gonna have to have your help on that. But the first few steps that I've typed out. Do you see that document, Pawan?
That you're sharing? No.
No, I'm not sharing it, but it's in there. Let me share my screen. Andrew's sharing his for what he's working on. Let me hold on a second.
But basically, so I've got the server with Socket.io running, right? And it's connected to our database, and then it's inserting that entire JSON object to the database. And of course, if I go come on. That's going to take a second. Let's see. Oh, let's see if I can hey, all right. Or not. Well, this is new. Let's try opening that again. Okay, there we go. And if I remember, let's see. Close that. What the heck is this? Ah. I'm gonna only take part of this. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? query tool. No.
Chris, I purchased my cap and gown today.
Congratulations.
Thank you. $100.
When I registered for summer, I got an email notification on my petition to graduate that said that
Here we
everything
go.
was in order to graduate.
But you see, each row in here is a insert with
Cool.
the data that's getting sent from the Raspberry Pi. So each one here is a particular JSON object for an SSID.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still working out the kinks on how to query these.
And make them display
Whatever.
on a page.
But I've also, this doesn't look like anything because it's not, but it's the beginnings of what I'm trying to do. So I've got, it's an HTTP server basically running, it's Express, which is kind of like, it's a router. So it points you to like your website files essentially. So you get a request to the root of your whatever this is here, and it serves up this file, the index.html, which is this right here. And where'd it go? Let's see. I'm also running something called React. So if I actually go here, this is a bunch of default crap. Most of this isn't doing anything, but essentially what React is doing, it's like appending data to this div right here. So you've got this serving up this file, which there's nothing in here, but we can go source app.js. It's the render method is where we're taking other files called components. So essentially, I can section all of this off to do various things, export it, and then import it here. So you can build individual components to do various things. So I started with the header, footer, and then the body. And then I export them in from these documents, import them here, and then call them in the body of the application. So this is what you're seeing here,
Mm-hmm.
where it's rendering my components there. But essentially, what I'm planning on doing is I've got, let's go back to, let's see. So this is just garbage so far. What I'm going to do is essentially just send, I'll have some other imports, but I'll send from socket.io or something along those lines. It'll render here and then dump it on the page. And it's meant to be asynchronous, so it doesn't reload the entire page is the whole point of it. React is what Facebook's built on, And I don't know if you've noticed, but the entire page doesn't reload every time you click something. Like, for example, the header never changes. Whereas, like, if I don't know, if you go, can't think of a particular website, but most websites, it's like gonna refresh the entire page, and then that's gonna
Yeah, but like
because I turned it off.
Like Facebook, it only updates the content that's coming in, so that's what you're talking about.
The idea being, I have a particular section on the page where I display the JSON data, and it only updates when it changes, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
And then I'm going to do, this may be easier to, this is the other thing that I mentioned is, let's see, one of these articles may be semi-useful. Not so much. I know one of these had a kind of a useful, yeah.
It's almost like this capstone class should be 2 semesters long. You know what I mean?
Yeah, depending on what you're trying to do and how much knowledge you have.
Yeah.
But you see how he's importing, you have the chart.js, and he's importing it into his project, and then creating, like, these are the specific charts that he wants to use, bar, line, and the pie chart. And then he's going to go through. So he's creating a component right here. So putting in all the divs and the formatting, like the generic HTML that he needs. And then it eventually renders based off of whatever data he's feeding it. So, like, putting it in here. But that's what I'm working on in a kind of like in a nutshell. And you'll actually see it in development. I'm not running the dev right now, but you can create components and edit components, and it shows up here as you save them. So you can run it and see it in real time.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool what he's doing. What is that called? Using chart.js with reaction? Or React?
Yeah, I can link it.
That's pretty cool.
This is essentially what I want to do. And then I don't know if I'll do it directly with Socket.io or what, but essentially every time I get some JSON data, I want to update the chart, and I'll do that through the React framework, and that'll allow me to kind of just re-render that particular section of the page without having to reload constantly. It's essentially, it's an easier way of doing like Ajax type stuff. For me, Ajax is kind of complicated.
I didn't really like Ajax that much.
This is like, you have built-in methods that do everything you need it to. You just build a little bit of extra HTML or whatever. In my opinion, it's way easier than working with vanilla like Ajax.
All right, so I guess my question is, what do we need to do to get where we need to get for Sunday between now and then? I'm going to try to finish working on my side.
We need documentation on how to set it up, for one.
Okay, well, see, I'm not, at the database set up yet. You sent me the link to that, but I need to know, is there anything else?
Well, you can set up the database, and then what is it? Good grief. setting up the database is just the biggest part, and you don't actually have to set up tables to create a database.
So what I guess I mean, so I just need to get the Postgres SQL installed on the Linux server, and that's what I'm gonna do step by step. So when I do this time, or install, I haven't done period. So I'm gonna start working. I'll finish installing the Linux server in the morning, and I'm gonna finish my documentation on that in this document. Does everybody see the document that I got pulled up? And Poan, if you've got a Linux server, you kind of want to start coming behind me.
So I'll basically, so you're going to create a database, right? That's step one. This is going to be very general.
Okay. Sorry.
Create.
Put that in this document. Put this in this the document that I got. Hold on, I'll make you a place for it. I'll make you a place for it, and you just stick it in there. Hold on. There you go, right there. Are you doing it there, or are you doing it?
I'll paste it in a second.
Or I'll just copy what you're typing. Well, it might be easier you to do it, so.
So yeah, I basically, you create the database, and then the schema is what houses the tables in this particular type of database.
Okay.
So if you see, just to kind of give you the overview of that, when I'm doing my insert, I have, where is it?
What are you calling the tables?
Wi-Fi experience is the schema.
Okay.
And then, because, where's my, okay. So localhost on here, it sees the server running the database.
Okay.
And then lower level, you have Wi-Fi experience.
That's the one. That's the database, correct?
Right.
Oh no, that's just the table that's in
split up right here.
Yeah, that's the table.
Well,
that's
no, I call them all the same thing, which is probably not a great idea. But so you have the connection string. So it sees localhost. That's this IP here.
And then the database.
Wi-Fi experience, which is the database.
Okay.
So there's my connection string. It's connected to the database. For the insert, Wi-Fi experience in this case, which, yeah, I probably confused everyone by doing this. This is the schema.
We're just going to blame it on you.
That's fine. This is the schema right here in the insert.
That's the table.
And then the .ssid is the table right here.
Okay.
So it goes schema
table.
And then in parentheses, column.
Okay, column. It's clear as mud now. I'm teasing. It's good.
I could have used some different naming conventions, but
no, you're fine. It's fine. We're good.
And you may actually, heck, I may actually be able to just give you the code that creates this.
Okay. Well, will you copy and paste it in that document so I don't have to reinvent the wheel? I got you a spot for it.
Yeah, I'll dump this in there too in like a particular section. So let's see. Let's get a drive.
Now, Pawan or Greg, either one of you, could you get a Linux server going and follow documentation. I didn't put any screenshots in.
What was I doing? I know this folder's in here. I got too much stuff. Nope, wrong group. Where'd it go?
Capstone Project, that one.
There we go. Sweet. All right, which document
right there,
is this?
The second one.
This one?
Right there. Yep. No, go up, go up, go up, go up, go up, go up, go up. Right there. There you go.
That might be a lot. If I'm going to paste like this, where'd it go? If I'm going to paste the SQL, that might be a lot to paste dead in the center of the document.
Oh, yeah. No, I was talking about the notebook document that you have. You can paste that at the bottom. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Then post that other at the bottom if you want to.
I'm going to paste it under the Postgres QL.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. So I think you could basically paste this in the command line whenever you get Postgres installed.
Okay.
And it. Oh gosh.
Paste it without
may need to work with some formatting on that.
Or just change the font on it. That's fine. Change it down to like 12 or 11. I got it. I changed it, so.
Let's see what else. So that creates the database. And when you see these names here, node, I don't know. I think you'll have to create these users because I think it's giving authorization to an existing user.
Well, you want to list those users out as users and just put like users and then blah, 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 blah. And then their permissions for each.
Well, this is assigning permissions in most of these. If you go, where to go? So you see here, it's the problem is most of these are not gonna show you how to create the user.
Where do you create the user at? Is it underneath the or just, I tell you what,
you could get it in here, but this is kind of obnoxious.
Well, what I was going to say, go back up to the underneath where it says create or under database, and just give me a list of users and their permissions, and we'll just do that by hand.
Oh. Let's throw this stuff in here too. I think that may be it. Actually, I'm gonna do this number. Yeah. Oh. Copy.
Yeah, we don't want to remove it.
Okay, so that already did it. So those are the users. I'll give you the table.
So I signed us up
This
for
actually-
the CD. Go ahead. What?
You sent that first thing
Yeah.
that he listed out?
Yeah.
Then we're gonna do let's go here.
Well, I think we're required to be there. That's the one that he wants us there at.
There's only one in particular I think we have to be at. I need to look at it again.
I thought that C thing was like a competition or something. Did I misread that?
I thought it said that we were required to present our projects there.
We have to do a poster.
Okay.
When is that due?
That's
No.
due like a week or two into April.
Okay.
All right.
I'll see if I can come up with a poster or something. I've got plenty of...
C-Day is an event that students can show off projects with their blah, blah. All projects are required to submit their projects to C-Day and create a poster. Only limited number of projects will be selected to participate in the C-Day. So unless... April 8th is the project submission.
Okay.
So I can't imagine we will be selected to participate if our thing is kind of half-baked at that point. But we'll submit this. And I'm not sure when it wants... I guess... Oh, we may not even need the poster, but I think we still have to submit one. And then there's an optional thing where you present your thing with like 30 seconds. So I definitely don't want to do that personally. It doesn't even seem like necessarily we would even need to go to this. It just depends on whether or not they select you for it, but you still have to submit it.
Yeah, because we're required to.
So we submitted it, but unless we're selected, we don't need to do anything. Is that right? I read. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think we still have to submit
We still have to do the poster.
Okay.
It gives you the guidelines.
That's a
and stuff
requirement
for the
somewhere
poster.
else.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's
We'll
see.
look at it.
Create table. Table?
Table A.
Let's see.
I'm probably going to have your help with this, Andrew. I may message you back and forth on this.
That's fine.
Are y'all okay? Are you got other guys? You Andrew, Pawan, do you kind of understand what we're doing?
To be honest with you, no.
Yes,
I have an idea of the main idea behind everything, but the nuts and bolts of it, I'm a little confused.
Well, I mean, it's just kind of like what we did in that studio class.
Mm-hmm.
You create your users, and you create your database, give them permission, then your schema, and then your tables, and then the columns. Correct?
Right.
Yeah, the database, I kind of got a good idea on what's going on.
And he's given us the cheat code for it. So That's what he's done to create it.
Yeah.
And also remember, we can always go back and look at this video when he's showing us his table as well, because I'm recording it. So what happened? Did we lose?
Pardon?
Okay, there we go. Sound like everybody dropped off.
Let's see. Really, I need to get like the displaying some data on a page going.
I mean, we're close. I can see it. I mean, you know, we're close to getting it working. We've got the data, but that's the biggest thing. Is, I mean, even if we get ones and zeros on a web page, I think that's success for the project, right?
Yeah, even if it's kind of ugly, I think that's kind of there.
I mean, we'll let another group make the page.
I think realistically, once I figure out how to get the data onto the page, like in real time, directly from Socket.io, I'm not even talking about doing it from like the server.
Yeah.
Running SQL queries to create a chart on demand shouldn't be as bad. I would hope. But I spent most of the weekend trying to figure out how to get React working. And like kind of getting the data, how to update the page and stuff. It's not that straightforward when you first start out.
Well, I was working on getting duplicating my install of Linux and documenting all that stuff, and then Wednesdays, and I was like, well, I'm gonna try to work on finishing up on Thursday and Friday. Well, then I went out sick, so Thursday and Friday, so I've kind of been out of commission, so I didn't have a chance to pick it back up. So I'm gonna try to finish that this week, and then I go on spring break, so I may be able to work a little bit finishing it up. So whatever, I'll try to get to this database stuff and get it done this week, and make sure I can duplicate that, and then hopefully you'll have me a working program by this weekend.
Hopefully.
Okay.
I took 2 days off to do that.
Okay. Well, we just need to get our milestone stuff. I'll try to make sure all of the documentation is kind of ready to go on that side. You guys will need to do your logs on what you've done for this milestone. I think we've put a lot of hours in this milestone on other stuff. So Andrew, I know you probably will max it out with yours. So.
Definitely.
This week I will.
So, is there anything else for tonight that we really need to cover? I mean, I think we're going to have to work on this on Sunday, afternoon. We'll work a lot of this through on Sunday afternoon.
Realistically, the whole kind of recreating it and you're on your own is a good thing. We need to meet with GJ again to kind of talk about where we're at and what we need to do to kind of test it at Kennesaw, most likely.
Okay. But I think we need to wait until we get our documentation for it. Once we submit this last milestone, we need to get with him and say, hey, this is where we're at. This is what we've got. Can you duplicate what we've got on your end?
And then kind of test it.
Yeah. So I guess I'm giving everybody homework besides Andrew because he's done it already. So Pawan and Greg, I'm giving you some homework. Download the VM player and follow the steps that I've done as far as creating the Linux stuff. Now, just come back to this documentation file. It's not complete, so give me a couple days to finish completing it, and install a Linux server and get it up and going, and see if you can duplicate it. Now, I know y'all don't have your Pi devices, except for Greg. You got all of them. We can figure out the Pi device isn't that complicated, you know. It's pretty much already. I mean, it's done. Correct, Andrew? The Pi device, we don't have to mess with it again.
I might change a thing here and there, but for the most part, it is done.
Okay. So all I'm asking for Greg and Pawan and even myself is let's recreate the steps on installing a Linux server, getting it going and ready for FTP, and even being able to SSL into the device or into the server, and then installing the database and duplicating what I did as far as getting it done. So does that make sense? I feel like I'm mumbling and just carrying on. Are y'all good with that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. So, like I said, just download that VM player so you can install a VM image on your computer and download the Debian. Not Debian. Debian. I don't know why. No, Debian.
Oh yeah, Debian for the server.
The Linux server. Yeah. And install that. So you know, if you guys can do that, and then we can get the database going on y'all's as well as mine, then I think we'll be good to go. We'll call it a successful test.
Sounds good to me.
At some point, I'm probably going to set the thing up on my own again, too.
Well, that's what I was kind of doing. I went back through and reset everything back up myself, and that's what I was doing, the step-by-step tutorial or documentation, so I make sure that, you know, I'm writing these notes down as I go. Installing from scratch.
I think that should be easy enough for us to install the player.
It's super easy.
Do you have anything else for tonight, though?
Nope, that's what I was going to close this out tonight. So, because I think, you know, you got a lot of work to do, and I can't really do anything until I get back to work tomorrow because everything's at work. So, but if everybody's good with everything, Andrew or Greg, I guess if you could throw us another PowerPoint together for this milestone.
Yeah, I've got one started.
And then we can doctor it up and edit it and make it look presentable and submit the 3. Even if we are behind, we can get caught up pretty quick because we're probably about a few days behind, I would say, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay.
It's got like certain hurdles that you get past, and then it picks up the pace. Once you get past the most difficult parts, you can kind of continue to add to it. So the database is difficult, and then getting the data to like a chart is difficult. At that point, I can start adding other random features to make it look pretty and do more stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming, you know, again, they're going to add to this, but I'm pretty sure that they've got some developers that will clean it up and tweak it, make it look better than what we're doing, because they've got more years experience doing it than we do.
Right.
All right.
Well, I'm gonna hop off here then.
All right.
All right,
That's it,
good.
Greg.
Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.
See you for one. Bye.